the shift.
Fair enough. I've got just a few questions left. One, briefly, how do people pick gold that's not, you get rumors of fake gold, tungsten filled gold, all of this stuff. That's one of the reasons I like silver, is because it's, the smaller denominations of silver, it's not worth faking usually. But how do you determine that for people?
That's a great question. Number one, only work with a reputable dealer that uses only mint direct dealers and has absolutely everything certified. So that's one big way. I mean, I think that you need to do that anyway, because you need to have that two-way market. But gold and silver have properties that tungsten and different metals do not have. So even if you're like out and about at an estate sale or a yard sale or flea market or something like that, and you come across something that's marked, it's not magnetic. So keep a strong magnet in your pocket and you can test it. And that's true for silver and that's true for gold. And in fact, we have a whole checklist of things that you, the individual, can do on your own to determine, is this real or is this fake? So if anybody wants it, they can call us at 888-696-4653 and talk to one of our precious metals consultants. We'll shoot it out to you so that you can keep it with you and see how you determine these things.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's a simple checklist. And then there's equipment. I think the piece that we bought might have cost us $800 or $900, and there's all different size kits. So they can go from like, probably 25 or $30 on up. But we got a fantastic one that you put it on this machine and it tells you the purity level of what you're looking at. And,
wow.
So if it doesn't register, it's not real.
Come a long ways. I remember, I know they have acid test kits and things like that, but that's trouble.
Well, it can work as long as you go deep enough. So you're not just, if it's coated, you're not just getting the coating. But yeah, these little machines are fantastic. They're fantastic.
Okay.
But if you buy from a reputable dealer who's working with reputable wholesalers and only using certified products, that means they've been tested. They're real. And that's where you're going to buy it. And that maybe, because it depends, we have to see when we get there, but that is highly likely where you're going to sell it through. That's that know your customer kind of thing. So then it's not questioned.
Fair enough. So down a rabbit hole a little bit, you mentioned the one percenters.
Mm-hmm.
There's this idea that there are these like Illuminati families that run the world, and it's like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, and all of those names. Is there merit to that? Is it Illuminati families, or is it just a big banker, free for all?
Well, my nickname is Data Gal, which basically means if I can't prove it, I don't say it. But having said that, there is certainly a lot of historic and ongoing pieces to this puzzle that would make me believe that, yeah, they still control a lot of these markets, but they have removed themselves. And then you have that next layer of this global central banks that are moving all of these strings in perception management terms. That's nudging. But again, they want distance. So whoever is in charge in layers is always looking for distance so that you do not equate the outcome with the original perpetrator.
So you avoid the pitchforks and torches.
Exactly. But, it's interesting too, because what did JP Morgan say? Only gold is money, everything else is credit. So yeah, he knew it, but because he knew it and understood it, he also knew how to take advantage of the system. And that's what bankers know how to do, because they write the rules. and they write the way the rules are accounted for. Just like people think everything's hunky-dory and back to normal from 2008. Heck no. The system died. I can prove it. I prove it all the time. The system died that we knew, that we grew up with. It died in 2008. And they have just kept it on life support with zombie banks till they could get the next new, brand new financial system in place. Will it include, cryptocurrencies? Of course, because the problem that they're having right now with physical cash resembles the problem that they had with physical gold in the beginning of this grand central bank experiment. They had to take the gold away from the public so that the public had no way to control the government. In 71, Nixon took the gold, basically took the gold away from other countries by telling them, no, you could not send in dollars for gold at $35 an ounce anymore. He closed that gold window and took the power and handed it over to the central banks. So the governments, in my opinion, and this is why I really don't get political, because those are not the guys that are driving this bus. Those are just the guys that are legalizing the theft. It is the central banks and the bankers and the corporations that are driving this bus. Period. End of discussion. And what do bankers know? They know debt and leverage. And that goes all the way back to the consumer that have grown. Everybody has. The governments have, but the taxpayers are responsible for that. The corporations have, but it's kind of complicated and convoluted, but they know debt. And the whole foundation of this entire global economy is one based on constantly compounding debt and interest, which goes to the flipping banks.
So you mentioned Nixon. Are we going to have another confiscation? I mean, it sounds like that would be a very tempting thing for them to do when this all goes down.
I think so. I mean, that's what even, what happened in India, what happened in Venezuela, what happened. It's happened. It's happening. It's happening in different parts of the world, as you and I speak. So I think that an overt confiscation is inevitable, because isn't market manipulation a form of confiscation?
It is.
Right?
Are they going to
a form of confiscation?
That's true. I was kind of meaning like precious metals. Are they going to come for those again? And how can we protect ourselves from that? I mean, you could buy jewelry, but
well, and jewelry is certainly one way, to do it, which is why you always see me with a lot of jewelry, and even costume jewelry, because it's physical, it's tangible, but for me personally, because I want the monetary metals, and it's a much cheaper way to approach it, frankly, that's why I only do the collectibles. That doesn't mean super high-end collectibles, because with all of the market manipulation in the visible market, the spot market, that's really driven a lot of people away from the physical market. So even the collectibles, I'm able to buy those for what, 25, 30%, 50% below the current true value of an ounce of gold, and even more than that from the ounce of silver. So all flippin' day long, because the IRS puts them in a different category. The 1%ers that buy, you can see this in the ultra rarities index. These coins start at hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for 1 ounce of gold. Well, I kind of think that anybody that can afford that for 1 ounce of gold either, I don't know, writes the laws or could influence those that write the laws. So that's the category that I want to be in. And I can do it a whole lot cheaper than $1 million on a coin. I can do it for a couple thousand on a coin.
Fair enough.
So I believe that gives me a layer of protection.
That's a great idea, actually. So Lynette, let me ask, what is it that sets, you and ITM Trading apart from everyone else? What makes you special? What can you offer people?
Well, I think it really is our approach, because it really doesn't take rocket science to throw you, into metals. But the strategy that we utilize, even though it varies from person to person, is based upon historically repeating patterns. Because even though we can't guarantee the future, that's our best shot. I don't know of anybody else that, certainly there are people that understand currencies and the markets better than I do, but I don't personally know them. And here we are super keen on educated choices. So when we position and help people position into a strategy, it's like a marriage with us. You become part of the family. It's not just for buying the silver and the gold. It's to give you the ultimate tools. I mean, that's what the YouTube videos are all about. It's to give you the tools to help you be able to identify the patterns and identify the true value, the fundamental value of any asset or instrument, so that you are clear on, do I want to buy it? Do I want to hold it? Do I want to liquidate it? What should I do now? Where are we in the cycle? I'm never going to get you to the second, but I'm always going to be able to get you to the phase. And if I can teach you how to recognize that, then nobody can ever pull the wool over your eyes. And I don't know anybody else that does the work that we do here. And our mission is really to help people through this entire cycle.
That's awesome. So you give people confidence in their own decision making. That's great.
We try.
Yeah.
We try. And and I'm sure if anybody called and talked to any of the precious metals consultants here, I mean, we've all been here for a really long time. I've been here since 2002, although in the market since 64. But most of the people back here have been here for, 8, 9, 10, 12 years. I mean, there's a lot of really strong, knowledgeable people here, and we all work together as a team. So,
well, Lynette, thank you so much.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, no, you guys do good work, and you give out information for free, and that's a wonderful thing, and I really appreciate that you do that. That's a big thing.
We believe in educated choices for sure.
Yeah, that's the people I trust the most, the ones that give out the information. Thank you for coming on my show, and I really appreciate your time. Where can people find your, is it itmtrading.com?
It is. And also, we publish 3 times a week, plus the wonderful interviews that I do on our YouTube channel. So if you just put ITM Trading YouTube, then you can access that all the time. It's a pretty deep library, and we're always working on making that better. And, and of course they can call us at 888-696-4653.
It's a lot like, food. You better have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly. Because really, if you're sitting on gold and silver and you understand its true value, not the Wall Street manipulated price, I always like to ask, what if I'm right and what if I'm wrong? If you're right and you're sitting in fiat money products, then they will lose their value. The goal is 2% a year. Okay, that's if you're right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wrong, they lose value, bam, just like that, into hyperinflation. With gold, its most important function, and silver as well, is to hold your value of your work and your labor over time. So if today they manipulate it down, who cares? Because you always have something that has value, period, end of discussion. So frankly, your timing could be off, but it really doesn't matter if you're right or you're wrong. If you're holding the physical metals, you now have something of real value that is not predicated on a government saying it does or does not.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, Lynette. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully, we can follow up in the future and maybe halfway through this thing and we can do another one.
Absolutely. This was really fun, and you asked great questions.
Thank you, Lynette. I've been following it since I was about 16 or 17, actually. I found out about the Federal Reserve and how corrupt everything was. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not following the traditional path. I'm going to go my own route.
That's really wonderful. I wish more people would do that. That's what my work is all about. It should be taught in schools, but then people would make different choices and not go along with their plans. But yeah, great questions. This was a lot of fun today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. Have a wonderful evening. Okay.
You too.